Welcome to the New Orleans Saints podcast, presented by Rouse's Markets. You'll hear from players, coaches, broadcasters, and writers that cover the NFL daily. The New Orleans Saints podcast starts right now. Here's your host, Erin Summers.
Nice job, guys. Nice job. Hey, point into this, okay? I got tired of writing two scripts. I wrote one script. There's nothing on the back page, okay? There's only one for the win. Okay, effort and finish all week, guys. We talked about it all week, guys. Okay, you never know which play is going to make the difference. Okay, 5-0 turnovers. 5-0. Let's start with Cam recovering a football. There we go. So Mario with a nice strip. Jonas with the recovery. Rizzy with a strip. Calvin with the touchdown. Kool-Aid, where the hell are you? Offensively, guys, Taysom Hill back in there for a big 19-yard completion. Sheed, big-time play, 4 catches, 114 yards, and a touchdown. Spencer Rattler, 20 for 30, 225, touchdown. Awesome job, guys.
Kellen Moore got his first win as a Saints head coach.
Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Hey, this hasn't been the easiest month. Your resiliency's shown up each and every week, okay? We got one. Now we carry the momentum. We start stacking these, and let's get ready to roll there. Let's go. Be Cook, break it down. Here we go. Yes,
sir. Keep that momentum going, fellas. This is what we're about. We come out here next week and get this dub again. Be great on 3. 1, 2, 3. Be great.
That was the scene in the locker room after the Saints grabbed their first win of the season, 26-14 over the Giants. The win also gave head coach Kellen Moore his first win as a Saints head coach, and quarterback Spencer Rattler his first win as a starter.
You know, feels good, man. Feels good to get that first win. It was a team win. Defense played great. O-line played elite today. I believe we had 0 sacks versus that front. So, you know, that's a great building point, and, you know, catch that momentum, you know, go on a run, just keep working, keep progressing, and keep doing what we're doing.
The biggest moment offensively came as Rattler connected with Rashid Shaheed on an 87-yard touchdown where Shaheed hit 21.7 miles per hour. That is the fastest on an offensive touchdown this season, and why we need to see more explosive plays just like that. The Saints defense, they had 5 takeaways on 5 straight possessions, which helped hold the Giants scoreless in the second half. Safety Jordan Howden came in for Justin Reed in the second quarter after Reed left with a concussion. He scooped a Brian Brzee forced fumble for an 86-yard touchdown. Jonas Sanker had another turnover of his own. After grabbing the team's first interception last week, he recovered a Demario Davis forced fumble this week. Kool-Aid McKinstry, he grabbed his first career interception and then another one for good measure.
Just so happy for him. You know, he is a phenomenal player. We think the world of him. You know, he's played some hard downs the first few weeks of the season, and for him to come up with 2 big-time interceptions and made a bunch of plays throughout this entire game, you know, I was so fired up for Kool-Aid. He deserved everything that's coming his way this week, and so, you know, we're really excited for him.
Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau returned to the field after offseason knee injuries for the first time. They just started practicing this week, so 3 practices, and they were like, yeah, we're ready to go, game time. Hill quickly showed off his versatility, running the ball and hitting Juwan Johnson on a 19-yard gain in the red zone. Speaking to the media today, Coach Moore did say that Justin Reed is in concussion protocol. That was the only injury to come out of the game. Moore also said that they are optimistic that defensive end Chase Young will return to practice this week and be able to start the ramp-up process Wednesday. Young has missed the first 5 games with a calf injury. Now, let's bring in today's guest. From the plays he made to how he made you feel, it's time to catch up with a member of the Black and Gold who repped the fleur-de-lis with pride, Saints legend, linebacker, and Super Bowl champ, Jonathan Casillas. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me on the New Orleans Saints podcast. It is great to have you. And I just got to know, first of all, how are you doing after a Saints win?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. See, the thing is, I'm split. I
I
technically
know we're
work
gonna
for
get
the
there. Yeah.
Giants, but my heart, of course, it's New Orleans. Like people's like, how could you do this? Some people don't know. Like some people don't know, and I'm like, I won a Super Bowl there. I was an undrafted free agent to New Orleans. They took a chance on me. I was there for 4 years. I got like real family there. Just not like I got family with the Giants too, but that was my start. I can't,
Yeah.
not go with the Saints. I can't not go with the Giants. Like it is what it is, at this point. But it was good to see the Superdome how it was. And
Hmm.
and I talked to Scott Shanley in the fourth quarter, I believe, and we talked about the Shaheed touchdown, how loud it was.
Yeah.
He was like, I haven't heard it that loud in years. He said, I haven't heard the Superdome that loud. So it was good to be around that energy. It's been a while since the Saints won a game. On the other side of it, the Giants in the first half is like the Giants figured it out. Like they got their quarterback. They might be able to do a playoff push, and then by the end of the game, it's like, all right, guys. Like this, I'm not saying same old Giants, but that's what it kind of felt like at the end of that game.
Yeah, so you do have a very interesting perspective because you were at the game, Saints legend, you were out there for the coin toss, but then, as you mentioned, you have been working for the Giants on their radio broadcasts.
Mhm.
So you're probably watching it a different way than most Saints fans would be.
Every Saints fan, for sure. I was reserved, and I swear I wasn't Miss Benson's suite. So like I'm just not reacting. Like I'm not doing anything. And then one time when Jackson Dart was running, I was like, slide. And then people looked at me like this. I was like, oh, let me just keep my mouth shut. And I would have said it for Spencer too. Like I would have said it for him because honestly, they're very similar. Spencer Rattler, Jackson Dart, the play calling, RPO game,
Mhm.
the ability to run the football, young
Yeah.
quarterbacks making mistakes, right? Like that, they're very similar. I would have said the same thing for Spencer, but then I was like, you know what? Just be quiet, bro. Just don't say nothing. Don't react to anything. You're just neutral. You're neutral here.
I would say they're similar, except for the fact that Rattler does hold on to the ball. He doesn't just drop it when he's scrambling and allow Cam Jordan to scoop it up. I mean,
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
I
It
know.
just fell out his hands. But that's the thing when you have young quarterbacks, when you have young players in general, especially rookies, you expect mistakes,
Mhm.
and it's like, can the team rally behind and recover from these mistakes? Could you match, a turnover on defense? I mean, I'm a defender, so I'm
Yeah.
always thinking, I played with Eli, Drew, Tom, in 2015, 16 with when I was in New York with Eli. Eli, he wasn't as efficient with the ball and he turned the ball over a lot more frequently than he did even the year before in 2015. And it's a mindset that you have to have. It's not like, oh my gosh, oh, another turnover. It's like, all right, let's go get the ball back.
Mhm.
You have to have that mindset in general, but when it comes to a rookie quarterback, a rookie player, you have to rally behind him and support him through the mistakes because these guys are learning ball. Literally, they're on the job learning, and a lot of Giants faithful who think that Jackson Dart played too early, but is he ready? It's like it's being in the NFL. It's like having a baby for the first time. It's like you prepared, you read the books, right? You watch your nieces and nephews. You're not ready ever until you have the baby. Like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, there's no right time to be ready to play quarterback. There's no right time to be ready to get inserted to the starting lineup as a rookie. But I think he handled, especially the first week, very well. But this is the rookie mistakes that I expect.
Mhm.
Things like, okay, what the heck was that? Like I expect that out of rookies, but the Giants didn't do enough to capitalize. And on the other side of it, the Saints did everything to capitalize off of what the Giants did and their mistakes.
Mhm. In that regard, as far as a rookie quarterback, Spencer Rattler got thrown into a really tough situation last year with all of the injuries in front of him, around him. So this year, it's almost like under a new offensive coordinator, new system, he's kind of repeating a lot of things that a rookie is going through in terms of learning your personnel, learning the system, getting those experience with different people. But everybody in this locker room has said that he carries himself like a vet. Like he is confident, they're confident in him. What did you see or have you seen in the way that he is handled being thrown in as the starter this season?
Again, he's a young quarterback. There's some mistakes there, but not huge mistakes, right? Only one interception on the year.
Hmm.
I feel like going into the game, the Saints really didn't have a vertical, passing game.
Yeah,
They,
yeah.
they really didn't have it. Even against Buffalo, they had a lot of opportunities in the first half, and they took advantage of all those opportunities. He threw the ball, I think, very efficiently. He was trying to strike downtown a lot. It worked for him several times. But he's young, and the ability to run the football at the quarterback position is now 2025. It's almost a necessity now
Hmm.
at this point, how offenses are being played. And he's young, but I do see what other people seeing him. Like he's a guy, he's a competitor, he's a leader. He's always, kind of being around his teammates. You can kind of see the energy. When I was in the stadium, I could feel that from him. So look, I know there was a lot of naysayers about him too. A lot of naysayers, a lot of negative talk, but it's very difficult to play that position, and it's difficult to win. If you ask Spencer Rattler, he knows it. He was
Hmm.
what 0-10 before
Yeah.
he won his first game, as a starter. It's very difficult to win, so you got to take him for what it is, and having a guy like Cameron Jordan, the veterans on the team, the guys that are leaders that stand behind him, and then coming to a game like that, you need your playmakers to make plays. Cam Jordan did, Demario Davis did. Sanker
Hmm.
another, good game, but two back-to-back good games, and Kool-Aid, two interceptions.
Yeah.
So like the guys got to make like when the Giants chose to go with Jackson over Russell. Of course, it was like the big media thing, right? It's not about Jackson, though. It's about everybody else. This is a team game. You have to play at a high level, and you have to rise your play when it's called for you to do that. The Giants, I think, did it last week. I
Hmm.
think in this game they didn't do it. The Saints did. The Saints responded well because the Giants came out right away, 3 and out for
Yeah.
the Giants defense, and then a touchdown. Right? They responded. The Saints, two field goals in a row, and then I think the next play, scoring wise for the Saints, was the Shaheed touchdown, the big touchdown.
Hmm.
So and the game started kind of how the Saints been going, getting outscored in the first half,
Right.
right?
Slow.
Kind of
Hmm.
being dominated a little bit, not being able to do anything on offense, not being able to do anything on defense, and giving up points. But then it shifted. The big plays are crucial in the NFL. Like we talk about, like, back in the day with the old Emmitt Smiths, right? A running back getting 30 carries. That's been gone, right? 4 or 5 yards a carry, just kind of moving down the field. In this day and age, in 2025, with this offense, with this RPO game that's very prevalent in the NFL,
Hmm.
big plays are crucial to teams. And I'm talking about big plays, explosive plays on offense, big pass plays, big run plays. And it's not always about having consistency. It's about being able to capitalize when those big plays are, available to you. Saints did like they did the best job I've seen from them. Yeah, I've definitely watched the Saints over the last couple years. It's one of the best jobs I've seen that they did collectively as a unit, defensively, special teams, besides the kick return, special teams and defense. Like they did a fantastic job on that game, man.
Have you ever seen a team just take the ball away like that? 5 straight possessions where you have 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions. Giants don't score in the second half of the game, but as you mentioned, seemed like the Giants were moving the ball easier, quicker, getting into the end zone, getting into the red zone, and the Saints were having a hard time stopping them. So they just like, all right, we'll just take the ball away then. Like that's the way we
So
fix it.
the first game that comes to my mind is the NFC Championship in 2010 against the Minnesota Vikings, when
Mm,
we just kept getting the ball out from them. And going into that game, we were the number one seed, they were the number two, but Brett Favre at quarterback, Adrian Peterson at running back. Like they were probably a little bit more talented than we were, especially offensively. Their
Yeah.
offense was incredible. But when you're going against a team like that, the mindset should be how could we get the ball from them? Because they're going to get what they get. Like it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to stop Adrian Peterson and Brett Favre. You know what I mean? You can
Hmm.
definitely probably do one, but then it'll open doors for the other one. What will help your team is if you can take the ball away, limit their possessions, give your offense more possessions. Aaron, I'm sorry, I just have that defensive mindset
Yeah.
every single time. It's always come back to defense. And that's what the Saints did, man. And like I said, the last time I think I've seen it was the NFC Championship game in that building.
Yeah, I think that was probably the last time that you had that many takeaways. It was funny talking to the players in the locker room just now. Terrell Burgess didn't realize that it was 5 straight possessions. And he thought that was wild. That, yeah, okay, 5 takeaways, but to have it be back to back to back to back to back, all different people, different ways, is extremely impressive. And you've seen a lot of the younger players on this team stepping up. I mean, Kool-Aid McKinstry with his first career interception, and then he grabs 2. Jonas Sanker has done really well. Jordan Howden comes in for Justin Reed early. He has the return for the touchdown off of that forced fumble. The defense, yes, they have their vets, but it seems like their young core
Yeah.
is really primed for some success here and building.
And building off a game like that, at home, um, you know, exciting game. Not a dominant game, but like a game where you're like, all right, y'all did what y'all needed to do. And that gives the fans something, something
Mhm.
to cheer about, something to, pack up the Superdome, turn on the TV and make sure they're watching their Saints. It was really good. It was a really good game. It was really good for the town. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. I'm a Jersey boy originally, so I understand the fans in Jersey, like they're true. Like if you don't play well in New York, like they're like, get out of here. Like, you guys suck, right? New Orleans is not like that. They're not like that at all. They're like, oh, it's okay, you guys lost. Like, we still love you. Like,
Mhm.
it's a different atmosphere, but they haven't had too many things to cheer about in a while, in a long time. It's been going back to last year, it was 11 straight losses
It was since week 14 last year against the Giants.
against the Giants.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. So it's always good to get back in the winning column. It's
Mhm.
very hard to win in the NFL. Ex Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to win. So the Giants got to go back to the drawing board and figure out what they can do. The Saints got to just build off the momentum that they
Mhm.
have. Who do the Saints have next week? Who are they playing this week coming up?
Patriots.
Patriots, and Patriots just got a huge win
Yeah.
on the road, beating Buffalo. So the Giants got the Eagles on Thursday night, and I'm just like, all right, I'll pray. That's the best I can do for you guys because they're coming off a loss, and
Yeah, that's a tough short week right there.
I think Hertz is 17 and like one or 18 and one in his last 19 starts. And the Giants do not have success against those guys down 95. So, they got to go back to the drawing board, and then the Saints just got to keep capitalizing. They got momentum. They got momentum. They got the
Mhm.
juice. When you're losing a lot, it easily can become, especially in a game like that where they're down early. It's like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
And Aaron, it's the old saying with Bill Belichick, do your job, right? That's
Mhm.
that's pretty like, every team kind of adopts that. But it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more than your job, right? Because I play linebacker. A lot of these runs, especially like these zone runs in the NFL, which a lot of teams run zone, every team runs zone, they're designed to like cut back, designed to basically create one-on-one tackles for who? The DBs, safeties, and corners. I'm sorry, I just don't expect corners to make tackles in the NFL against these big, strong, explosive, talented running backs. You know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
just don't. So, what that means to me is do your job plus, right? Of course, I got my A gap. Make sure you got your A gap. But then when that ball's cutting back and my A gap is no longer, a threat for the running back to I need to get off my block and help out my 180-pound corner trying to tackle Saquon Barkley one on one.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara one-on-one. Scattable one-on-one. You don't see Scattable. Scattable's bringing the boom
Uh-huh.
every time. I don't expect a corner to tackle any of those guys, not by themselves. So what I saw from the Saints that I didn't see from the Giants was do your job plus the extra effort that it takes. I think to have a successful team in the NFL, it's a
Mhm.
little bit more than just do your job. You saw that from New Orleans last week for sure.
And because they did that and they saw the people around them doing that, how much better is it to come out and get the win? Because I feel like this team has done a lot of the right things, but you haven't gotten the win to show for it. So now that you have the win, just kind of how much easier does it seem to make all the extra work that you're doing feel?
Well, listen, you got to learn how to win in the NFL. I was spoiled. I came in the league, we won 13 straight games.
Yeah.
Like Scott Fajita, we won a Super
Super
Bowl. Scott
Bowl.
Fajita's like, he's like, JC, you spoiled lucky. He was like, you so spoiled and lucky. This does not happen in the NFL. So I got spoiled. But because I won early in my career, we went to the playoffs. We lost. The Saints only went to one Super Bowl and won it. But for the next 2 years, we won a lot of games and we went to playoffs. I have the winning mindset. I was around the Drew Breeses, the Vilmers, the Will Smiths, those winners.
Mhm.
And then you take the Giants and the Saints. They haven't really like had success. And I don't want to call neither team losers, but when you don't win, you don't really understand what it means to play winning football because you haven't done it.
Mhm.
So for the Saints to come out and find like, all right, this is the recipe for us to win. And it doesn't have to be every week, but if you take care of the football on offense and you can convert in the red zone, of course, on third down, and the Giants they were good in the red zone for the first half, and then in the second half they weren't. If you can figure, that out, and then also on defense, take the ball away. Like no matter what, you can give up 300 yards rushing, 600 yards passing. If you have 5 turnovers, you're probably still going to win the game.
Mhm.
So if you can be able to do that, and of course, 5 turnovers, you can't do that on a consistent basis, but at least you understand what it takes for
Yeah.
you guys to win and to understand, like, all right, like we're winners now. Like it's hard for me to explain, but like it's almost like the Jets, the Giants, the Browns is like they losing for a while because they just don't know how to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they
And
don't understand how to win. The focus that needs to happen, especially late in games, right? Most games are close in the fourth
mhm.
quarter. There's like maybe 1, 2 blowouts a week, but every other game was within one score. Penalties, the undisciplinedness, right? The drop passes, the miscalculated, the wrong plays, right? The missed tackles, like all of those things, when it gets to the fourth quarter, you need to be able to make those plays, the mental errors. You can't have those. The good teams, the great teams, their focus, their concentration increases as the game goes on, i.e., the Bills. Look at what they did last week. Okay, maybe the Saints, maybe they sleepwalking a little bit in the first half. You got to capitalize on that because the Bills are a tremendous team led by one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen play the game, and they just didn't do it. But a team like that, they know how to win. So at the end of the game, you knew they was going to come back. You saw that week 1 in Baltimore. I turned the game off, Aaron, when I was watching the game. I
You
said,
and all
there's no
half the people
way.
that left.
I said, there's no way they can come back. Lamar, King Henry, they can't stop them. Turn the game off. Woke up the next morning like Instagram post, Bills historic comeback. I was like, what? But when you know how to win, no
Mhm.
matter what you're facing, you can find and scratch your way out. Now that the Saints are in the win column, they have some experience of winning. I'm telling you, I can't explain it, but it's the ability as a team collectively to figure out how to accomplish a win, whether you have a lead early or you're coming from behind. It's something that you have to learn when you're in the lead.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting matchup this weekend because the Patriots coming off a huge emotional win
Yes.
in Buffalo against Buffalo. Stephon Diggs going back there. He had a great game. Drake May looks probably his best game in
Yeah.
the NFL. And then the Saints coming off of their win here, I think gives them some confidence. I'm not exactly sure what to expect next weekend.
Yeah. Disrespect a effort game where they play hard to the fourth quarter because let's be real about this. The Bills going to come out swinging. They're going to come out swinging. The Bills, the
Yeah.
Patriots, sorry, the Patriots that just beat the Bills, sorry. They're going to come out swinging because they have that juice from they won. You know what I mean? Like, again, the whole winter thing, like, they haven't done well this year,
No,
but
see,
they
I was
figured out
hoping
how to
for
do it.
I'm hoping for like a letdown game because they are
I
like
got you
so
because the emotional
high.
high. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the emotional high. But that's the thing. Both teams are coming off wins.
Yeah.
So it's like both of them are on emotional high. So you don't want to let down. I think the way that the Patriots are coached, like they're a physical type team.
Yeah.
They of course they got a, young, good, decent quarterback. So I think both teams, even going into last week's game with the Giants and the Saints, I think both teams want to establish a physical presence. So I
Mhm.
think that's what you're going to see from both sides. And then at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who makes the most plays, who can protect the football, who can take the ball away.
Yeah.
No matter how anybody, individually performs, one side of the ball performs, that's what it ultimately comes down to. Can you do a clean game like New Orleans had last week? Take the ball away 5 times and have a clean game on offense. That's going to set you up to be in position to win the game at the end of the game, no matter what the other team is doing. When you can do that, you're going to give yourself a chance. So I would say hopefully they can employ a nice clean game, limit the penalties. I think
Mhm.
the Saints had 8 penalties last week.
Yeah.
You
Some of them
know,
were a little suspect.
they were, yeah, they were. This year, Aaron, like there's some real like finicky calls going
hmm
around throughout the NFL. Like a
Like
lot of
I don't know what Granderson could have done that would any more textbook than
and
that.
look, I'm a defender. So I'm sitting there watching like, what the hell? Like, what? So what is a clean sack? What is a clean sack? What
Yeah.
is a clean sack? I don't understand. But I don't know. I don't even know what the refs are on. I don't know if they're hitting like a quota or something. But like not just the Saints games, and let's be real about this. For some reason in the Superdome, the Saints, they get really bad calls there historically,
hmm
right? Historically. I was at the playoff game with the non-PI call, right?
Yeah.
Like that was like, what is going on? I don't know what it is. People were saying it was Sean Payton, but Sean Payton is not there anymore.
No,
They
I
was like,
know.
they want to get Sean Payton. It's like he hasn't been there for years, and it's still kind of happening
It
over there in
is.
the Superdome. I don't know what it is. I'll pray for them too, just like I'll do my Giants.
There you go. Thanks. Yeah, put us on the list. I did see you though before the game talking to Drew Brees. How good is it to be able
So
to
good.
spend a few moments with him before watching the Saints play?
It's so good because as a young player coming into the league, my first ever meeting, I think Sean Payton spoke for 2 minutes and Drew Brees spoke for
Mm.
the next 10 minutes, and I was like, what is going on? Players lead meetings in the NFL. And throughout my career, there's been a couple, things that players have said to me. And maybe it was like 7 or 8 things in my whole career from all of the guys. And two of them was Drew, right? One was my rookie year. And I told Drew this on the sideline. I said, bro, one practice, you came up to me and you were like, because he probably didn't know my name. He was like, hey, 62. First of all, Aaron, I had 62 at linebacker and I was 225 pounds. That's crazy work. But I was undrafted, so he makes sense. But he said, hey, 62, man, you're doing a good job, man. Keep it up. The confidence that
Oh
I
yeah.
had after he told me that. And then I go to Tampa. So I'm going to a division rival. So I'm in Tampa for a year and a half, and we play in the Superdome, and we lose, and Drew runs over to me. I got my head down, I'm pissed off. I hate losing there. Like I'm the worst. Like I'm so happy after the loss. I'm like distraught. I'm like angry with the media. I mean, I'm PC, you know what I'm saying? But I'm distraught. He came over, he's like, hey, JC, man, I just want to tell you, man, I'm so proud of you, man. You're doing such a good job. Again, was like, yo, like, I am doing a good job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but it's just he's such a great leader. He's
Hmm.
such a phenomenal human being, great father, great philanthropist. Like he says the right things, and being able, like I was spoiled. I got Breeze, Brady, and Eli Manning in my career.
Yeah.
I was able to play with those guys. But being with Breeze right away, like for me, it was perfect because I understood what leadership meant from the players.
Hmm.
Being with Vilma, those guys, like I understood that early. And I thanked Drew this yesterday. Like I was thanking him. I said, I just want to thank you so much, bro, because like you taught me how to be a professional. You also taught me cover two because you used to kill me at practice all the time in cover two. And when we were talking, he said, because I knew what you guys were looking at, because there was a synergy between defense and offense. We would compete every week, Aaron. We would
Hmm.
go every practice. There was not a live practice, but it was a full speed first team offense versus first team defense. No scouting, no scripted plays, just going out and we're running our defense against your offense. Let's go, Drew Brees. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, so that competitive nature, it literally, like, I think it just kind of propelled us, of course, that year, but throughout my tenure with the Saints. And I think that's missing right now in the NFL because of all of the collective bargaining stuff that they agreed upon, the limiting of time on the field, and it is a little bit sloppy in the first, quarter of the season. Aaron, I still have it in quarters. I still do 4, 4, 4, and then I got the bonus game at the end.
Right. I was going to
That's
say,
how
because it doesn't add up anymore.
it doesn't add up, but I call it the bonus game at the end because nothing else makes sense. There's no way to break it down.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of sloppy play throughout the league in the first half. I think it's because the practice situation, only 3 preseason games, the amount that teams play. So I think throughout the season, it makes so much sense to get competitive one-on-one versus an offense that's explosive and experienced that is not in a scripted play. At the end of the day, the scout team guys, when they're going against vets tell them the pace they need to go at.
Mm.
It's like, like you're going against Cam Jordan. You're not trying to beat Cam Jordan. You're going to try to service him. You know what I mean? But you're
Hmm.
not trying to beat him. Versus you're going against the first team offense and they're trying to score. They're trying to make you look bad. So you're going to get a great block from a tight end. You're going to get the tackle, being extra physical with Cam. I think that's missing, not just the Saints or the Giants. I think that's missing in the NFL. I
Yeah.
don't think they're practicing hard enough. I don't even think they're on the field as much as they need to be on the field to put out a beautiful product. At the end of the day, football's a beautiful sport. It's just you got to deal with some sloppiness in the beginning of the season. Hopefully, it starts to turn around, but some teams can't recover. Some teams can't recover. Like it's going to be hard for Cincinnati, Baltimore. The Saints just got the win. Like if they didn't win that, it's like 0-5. You know what I mean? It's like how do we
Hmm.
recover from this? But good thing that they got the win. So it's an interesting dynamic because the CBA, the players fight for less, but it's like guys, we need
Yeah.
to practice. Like you need to be out there on the field, man. So it's an
Yeah.
interesting dynamic.
It's funny. I don't want to like call you old by any means, but you sound like one of those old guys. It's like
But
back in my day, we practiced
so
twice a
I am
day.
so in football years, I'm old. I've been retired for 8 years, right?
Yeah.
And then when I was 27, that was the first time I ever got called old head. He was
Mm.
like, JC, what up, old head? I said, what? I said, bro, what? And my locker was like 3 lockers down from DRC. And then Eli was like further down, right? And I was like, what? And DRC was like, yeah, bro, we old heads now, bro. He said, we old heads now. And I was like, I'm an old head. I'm like year 7 or whatever. But yeah, you get old like in the NFL. You get old like year 6, year 6, year
Mhm.
7. You're an old head.
Yeah.
After 10 years, you're triple OG,
Yeah. So like,
like
what is
Cam and,
Cam
and, and
Jordan? And
Davis,
yeah, what?
right? He's triple OG. Like you become the OG probably around 8 or 9 years, and then when you pass 10 years, well, he's on 14, what
15.
15, and Demar's on 14. They're triple OGs. They're
Hmm.
triple original gangsters. That's what they are. Triple original gangsters. But blessed that those guys was able to play that long, man. And to have that longevity, to have that stain, right, that reputation, and play for Cam, in Cam's case, one team your
Hmm.
entire career. You got to take your hat off to him. It was good to see him. He was a guy that came in when I was there. Unfortunately, he wasn't a part of the Super Bowl team. He came
I
after,
know, I know.
but he's not, he has been like a vital cog for the Saints for,
Yeah. Yeah. Long time. Man, it's just so good catching up with you. What are you up to now besides kind of doing some stuff with the Giants?
So I do a lot, and the great thing about where I'm at right now, and I don't do radio as I used to, as Scott Shanley does, and
Hmm.
they gave it to Tiki Barber,
Hmm.
and the crazy thing is, Aaron, so listen to this, right? My first autograph ever in life was Tiki Barber, and then Tiki Barber gets my radio job,
Yeah,
like whatever, 25 years later. It's just the irony in life,
sure.
right? But my schedule's a little bit more freed up, like on game day, so I can do suite visits like I did for the Saints. I do that
Hmm.
for the Giants a lot. I network a lot. I'm like, I think I'm their go-to community guy, for like
Yeah.
kid stuff and hospital, whatever they need. Because I'm like 20 minutes away. I'm like 15, 20 minutes away.
Hmm.
But I got, finally, after I've been retired for 8 years, I got my foundation finally.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've been doing the new thing that I've been doing. We did 10 years of camps. This past year was our 10th year. We started an elite camp, like a combine style camp for the more skilled kids. My camp has always been an inclusive camp that we offer life skills classes to.
Mm.
So the kids come in and get life skills classes, and we put them in the afternoon. We've started doing sensory friendly adaptive football clinics for autistic kids, for kids on the
Wow.
spectrum and kids with any disability. We take anybody, not just kids, any ages. I keep saying kids, but it's not. We had a 21-year-old who was severely autistic, and the only thing he could truly do was step over the bags. You should have saw us cheering him on doing it.
Mm.
We're like giving him everything, and for me, being able to pour into not just my community, but the communities that I've been associated with over the years, and then hitting that demographic, because there's things that people include them in, but there's not too much things that's focused on the autistic community, and
Hmm.
and having a sensory friendly option if kids get overwhelmed. You know, we've been doing a good job with that. Um, and I'm in cannabis. I'm on a license out in New Jersey. It's legal in New Jersey. We're
Hmm.
doing cultivation. Queen City Cannabis, formerly Clay 9, from California. I have a food truck that I own that's out in Florida. Um, I mean, I feel like every week, if you ask me next week, I might be doing something new.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about being retired. And I said this before. I feel like football was it kind of limited me, because I feel like I'm a creative. I'm a creative at heart. I feel like a lot of things that I'm good at and I'm trying to do now. I didn't have the time or the
Yeah.
bandwidth to do it when you got to focus on ball, because playing football takes everything.
Hmm.
It takes your mind, body, and soul to be fully focused, to give your best performance every week. So when I retired, I just started doing a whole bunch of stuff, and
Yeah.
of course I'm getting into real estate like everybody else.
Yeah.
Trying to get a piece of this earth, a little bit more of the earth. I already own a couple houses. So, you know, you catch me next week, I might be doing something else.
Yeah. I mean, I might just have to follow up with you every once in a while, see what you're up to and like
Let me
your
know. Give me
creative
a call.
era
I'll
here.
jump on whenever you want.
I love that. Thank you so much. It has been awesome talking to you. It's great to hear about everything that you're doing, get your perspective on the game, and just don't forget to keep us in your prayers this weekend.
I will, for sure. Good to talk to you, for sure.
Thank you. Really appreciate his time. It was great to see him out at the game, talking to everybody on the sidelines, repping the Saints. Even though, yes, he is working with the Giants, he still brought us some good luck, and I appreciate that. Looking around the league, we mentioned the Patriots getting the 23-20 win over the Bills Sunday night. Quarterback Drake May showed out, as did Stephon Diggs in his return to Buffalo. He went 10 of 12 for 146 yards. That is his second straight game, back-to-back now with over 100 receiving yards. Ramondre Stevenson had 2 touchdowns, and the defense had 3 takeaways. In the NFC South, the Falcons were on a bye, so they at least kept themselves from picking up another loss. The Panthers got the 27-24 win over the Dolphins, and the Bucs got a 38-35 win over the Seahawks. For our player podcast this week, I'm sitting down with Kool-Aid McKinstry, so don't forget you can watch that on Thursday, 4 o'clock on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network, and it will be available via audio anywhere you get your podcasts on Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening. And you know what? It really does feel good to be a Saints fan today.
Thanks for listening to the New Orleans Saints podcast presented by Rouse's Markets. Join us 3 times per week on NewOrleansSaints.com, the Saints mobile app, or you can download the podcast on iTunes. We'll see you next time, right here on the New Orleans Saints podcast, presented by Rouse's Markets.